Do you struggle with a lack of confidence and wonder why? Or do you ever wonder why other women don't seem to have any confidence problems at all? They seem to have it all together while you don't. I have a theory why those of us who are of a certain age may lack confidence and then what we can do to overcome that. Hi, if we've not met before, I'm Shelley from Taming Frenzy. I'm going to go out on a limb here, but I've noticed that there seems to be a definite difference in the confidence levels of women depending upon their age and their upbringing. Perhaps you've noticed it too. You look at younger women and they seem so self-assured. They ooze confidence while you ooze insecurity and self-doubt. And you wonder, why is that the reason? They're not any smarter than you. They're not better educated than you or more experienced. So why do they have the confidence that you feel that you lack? In my opinion, age and upbringing is definitely the answer. At the risk of alienating a lot of people, and actually I guess if you're alienated by this, then I'm definitely not for you. There's a whole segment of us ladies who were not brought up to be confident in our abilities, or much of anything else for that matter. We were not raised with a cheering section telling us we could grow up and do and be anything we wanted. Instead, we were encouraged to take a back seat, to downplay or even negate any talents that we might have had, and we were taught that modesty and self-effacement were our best traits. Unlike the generation of women who came after us, we weren't told that we could do anything we wanted to do. We were not encouraged to dream big. We weren't encouraged to reach for the stars. Instead, we were raised to accept the norms of the day, to accept that the successes life had to offer were going to go to men, and that our role in life was to be sweet daughters, supportive wives, loving mothers. Well, that's something no one talked about, frequently not even our own mothers. But society has changed since I was a little girl. Thank goodness. Women stepped into new roles and have taken on new challenges. And the way that we raised our own daughters was probably as different as night and day from the way that we ourselves were raised. We didn't want our own daughters to feel less than the boys that were around them. We didn't want our daughters to feel held back or limited. We didn't want our daughters to deal with the same constraints that we were brought up with. And so we encouraged them to dream big, to assume that they could do anything that they wanted to in life, and to know that they are just as competent as any man out there. We encouraged their confidence, and we were there on the sidelines to cheer them on when that confidence may have faltered. The result is that some generations below us do not feel the same lack of confidence that we older ladies may be feeling. But we are happy for them, and we are proud of the things that we see them achieving. And truth be told, we may be just a little bit jealous at all the encouragement they've received. If only someone had been there to do that for us. But no one did. So finally, we are at the point in our lives when we are ready and excited to take on some new challenges. We've been the sweet daughters and the good mothers and the supportive wives, and now we are ready for that next phase because it is finally our turn. The problem is that we may lack the confidence that we need to take on these new challenges and to try these new things. Instead, we need to overcome that old programming and outdated societal norms so that we can become the confident women we were always meant to be. You know, back before old programming told us that confidence in women was unbecoming and that we just needed to sit down and be quiet. Now, I think there are 6 basic reasons why older women especially may have a lack of confidence. The first is that we were raised up to be good girls and not to draw attention to ourselves. Second, we were taught that good women put other people first and put their own wants, needs, and desires on the back burner. Third, it was expected that our primary role was to be nurturers and caregivers. In other words, wives, mothers, good daughters. Fourth, if we did want to pursue a career and work outside the home, we probably were pushed towards very female-oriented careers, teaching, nursing. After all, these careers worked great so that women could work and have a family. At least that's what we were told. Fifth, somehow someone else always managed to get credit for our good ideas and suggestions. And if you noticed, it probably was someone male, very likely someone older. And sixth, women who did demand equal respect and opportunity were talked about rather badly and looked down upon. In fact, you probably can think of some names that come to mind, that those women were frequently called. So how do we begin to overcome our lack of confidence and begin to feel like we are capable and competent? Fortunately, there are steps we can take to increase our confidence or to return it to the levels that we felt before it got programmed out of us. First, remember a time when you felt unstoppable. Now, you may have to think way off back into the past, perhaps to a time when you were a little girl who had not yet gone to school and absorbed all those messages that you were meant to play supporting roles instead of being the leading lady in your own life. Or perhaps you held on to your confidence until you got to your teenage years and the hormones kicked in and the desire to attract boys kicked in. Either way, think back to who that young girl was. What were her hopes and her dreams? What did she want to do with her life? How did she feel about herself? Perhaps if you can remember yourself before you were programmed into submission, you will realize that you did have plenty of confidence at one point in your life. Now, this realization may make you feel defeated. Don't let it. While it would be real easy to think, what a shame I lost my confidence and it's gone forever, remembering that you did have that confidence once upon a time is actually good news. Because instead of believing a lie, that you never had any confidence, you'll realize that you once had it and therefore you can have it again. It's actually easier to rebuild something than it is to build something from nothing. We just have to rediscover that little girl who thought she could take on the world. Another thing to do is to reflect upon your past successes. Now, your immediate reaction may be, but I don't have any successes at all. Nothing I've ever done has worked. I'm going to call nonsense on that one. Here's the problem. We may have grown up with a very narrow definition of what success looks like. That definition was probably very male-oriented. Because frequently when we think of success, we think of things like career advancements, awards, honors, and other things that totally revolve around the world of work. And we were often at a disadvantage in this department. Like I said before, frequently those of us who did pursue jobs pursued them in very female-dominated professions. And the career advancements in those fields may have frequently gone to the men who came into that field with the sole purpose of one day becoming our bosses. So you may need to come up with a new definition of success rather than the one that you've always held. You also need to realize that your successes in the past may have been more personal. Maybe you ran the book fair at your child's school. Maybe you were PTA president. Perhaps you organized and ran Vacation Bible School every year, or were the lead teacher in your department at school. Maybe you sat on committees at church and in your community. These successes count just as much as any received in the male-dominated world of work. But as women, we have frequently undervalued our successes because we had such a narrow view of what success looked like. So when we're looking to increase our confidence, we need to recognize and reflect back upon the successes that we've had in the past. Because we've had them, whether we chose to label them as success or not. Next, think about the things that you do well. Another way to increase our confidence is to realize that we have skills and talents that we can put to work for us. Now, just a note of differentiation here. When I talk about talents, I'm talking about things that come naturally to you, that you were born with. And when I talk about skills, I'm talking about things that you have developed through time. Now, here's a secret about talent. When we have a natural talent for something, we tend to downplay it because we tend to work on the assumption that if we have a talent and are good at something, that everybody else must be good at it too, right? Well, that's not the case. Just because we are naturally good at something does not mean that others are naturally good at it as well. Things that come easily to us may be difficult for someone else, but we don't see it because we're too close to it and because we were taught not to think too highly of ourselves. Back to that old traditional upbringing again. But when we've developed a skill over time or have honed a talent, those things are worth acknowledging. The skills that we have developed may or may not be unique to us. It doesn't matter. The sheer fact that we have learned how to do something is proof positive that we can learn other things that we need to learn as well. And that realization is a step towards increasing our confidence. Also, it's important to realize that a lack of confidence can be overcome. The whole point is that even though you may not feel confident right now, that doesn't mean that you cannot be confident in the future. Understanding the reasons why you lost your confidence can be an important step in regaining it. When we look objectively at our upbringing, we're taking the first steps towards identifying the falsehoods that we may have been brought up with and then taking steps to reject that. The world needs more confident older women. You've got a lifetime of wisdom and experience that needs to be put out there. Our knowledge and skills and talents can be a help to other people. It will make us better people as well, because it is a major step to fulfilling that potential that is inside of us. Do not let a lack of confidence be the reason that you don't share your skills and talents with the world. So, do you lack confidence? What's the step you're going to take to increase it? Let me know in the comments below, and let's talk about it.